So I'm fairly well known for modified 2-litre turbo Novas on here, but today we're going to have to do something a little bit more boring. So this is a 2-litre TDI Volkswagen. This is a common rail engine found in Volkswagen Audi group cars from about 2011 to pretty much the present day. It's a really common engine. We're going to be changing the cam belt on this. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in today's video. So the first thing I did was order the parts, and I also bought a cheap timing belt toolkit. So this locks the crank and these lock the pulleys. Now you don't really need to use these. You can get away without doing it. You can use drill bits. There's lots of little ways. You can mark things with Tipp-Ex. However, if you're not a competent mechanic, I wouldn't recommend that, because if it goes wrong, it could go very wrong, and you can probably end up needing a new engine if you don't know what you're doing. So I bought the kit to show you exactly how to do it. You don't really need it, like I said, but if you use this, you can't really go too far wrong. So first things first, I've just pulled the top cover off. So the cam belt is under this cover here. Now, first thing I want to do, just to get a bit more access, is remove some of this unnecessary stuff. So that's the diesel filter. That needs to come out of the way. This bracket here with this sensor needs to come out of the way. Normally on a, for example, a Passat or something, you take the header tank out of the way because it's a lot closer, but this being a Sharan, we might not need to, but we'll have a look. So just generally going to move some bits and bobs, some pipes out of the way so we've got a bit more access. Engine mount does need to come off, but not at the minute. So there's 3 10mm bolts holding the diesel filter on, and then remove a couple of the fuel lines and pull the diesel filter out of the way. Then I remove a few of the coolant lines, and what I tend to do is mark these and plug them as well. So I might use a little bit of red tape on one of them, just to make it a bit clearer so you can't get it wrong when you put them back. Last off, I just take the DPF sensor out of the way. Now, not all the VAG cars will have these. So that's the top side done for the minute. I've just capped this, as you can see, because it was dripping a bit of coolant. Next job, I'm going to take the wheel off, take the belly pans and all that off. Then we can start taking this engine mount off and going from there. Now this would have been an easy job, but I couldn't find the locking key, so it took me about an hour to find it just so I could take the wheel off. So I've just removed the inner splash guard. Now there's several screws, Torx 25 all the way around. So there's a couple there, one there, one here, one there, couple here, couple underneath. Simple as that. Undo them all and it slides out. Then it's a case of removing the under tray. Now this is like most VAG cars. It's got either 13mm headed bolts at the back, or in this case it was Torx 45, and then a load of Torx 25 self-tappers down the side, and it just slides off. Now being a Sharan model, it does have a secondary heating system, which is basically a Webasto heater, which heats the coolant up separately to the engine. So because of that, there's loads of extra pipes down here, and these are in the way of the bottom crank pulley. Luckily though, most VAG cars don't have this, and if you do, it's just a case of removing this main pipe here. There's a couple of nuts that go into the chassis leg, holding the steel pipe off, and then a bolt on the block. Like I say, it's a little bit awkward, but it does come out, and you can just bend it out of the way. What I did was just cable tie it down to the lower arm, just so it was out of the way. And then take the auxiliary belt off. So I use a flat 18mm spanner just to prise the tension around. Now you turn this clockwise. You can lock it off with a little pin, but I didn't. And then pull the belt off the alternator and off the bottom pulley and off the aircon pump. I support the engine using a jack and then start removing the offside engine mount. Now this is held on with a selection of 16mm and 18mm bolts. Now what you will have to do is raise and lower the engine to get some of the bits out. You can get the outer bracket off fairly easily, but the inner bracket's a little bit more complicated. But perseverance will get it out. Once it is out, you've got access to the lower timing cover. Now this is held on with a load of Torx 30 screws. So I take the top one out, lower the engine down, then remove the bottom crank pulley. This is held on with M10 spline sockets, and then you get to the rest of the Torx 30 screws. Now I forgot to mention the top cover just unclips and pulls out the way. I did this before I took the engine mount off. So next job, we need to get the bottom pulley to TDC, so top dead center, using this tool. So this slots into the bottom crank pulley, that little dimple there, hopefully you can see it. Goes over that here, and that goes into this little hole here. You can probably just see it at the top. So we need to get it lined up. That's it. So once the crank pulley is locked off, the cam pulley should be sat here. So there should be a slot in the cam pulley, and this pin should go in. If it doesn't go in, it means the crank's 180 degrees out. So you need to turn it another 180 degrees, and then this pin should go in. Now this was slightly tight going in, So I'd imagine the last person who did the cam belt didn't follow the instructions perfectly. You're meant to lock this off, slacken this off when you tension the belt. That way it's perfect. This is like a vernier pulley. If you don't do that, this can happen. It can make it a bit tight, but it is in, so that's good. And finally, the fuel pump. There's a little pin that just goes down the side here. So again, it's a little bit tight. Again, I think this is down to the previous person who put the belt on, but we're going to do it properly, so this won't be the case afterwards. So once everything's locked, you can start unbolting everything. So start by undoing the tensioner, all the guide pulleys. Now the tensioner is held on with a 15mm nut, and the guide pulleys are 30mm nuts. There's 3 10mm bolts holding the water pump on, and then it just pulls out. So the cam and fuel pump pulleys are basically vernier pulleys, which means the freewheeling, once you slacken the outer bolts off, they turn so much so you can get the timing absolutely perfect, which is a nice little feature. So slacken these off to the float. This way it makes the belt a lot easier to get back on. So I've cleaned the block with some Scotch-Brite or Brillo pad, whatever you want to call it. And now we're ready to put the water pump in. Now it's got a big O-ring around it, as you can see here. So you want to use some rubber grease on that just to help it slide in. So silicone grease like this is perfect. It won't rot the rubber seal. If you use normal grease, it will do eventually. Isn't good. So put a little smear around there. Beautiful. I put the water pump back in reverse order and tighten the bolts down evenly. I then start fitting the guide pulleys, but I put these on loosely. Timing tensioner. Now this little peg here goes in this little slot here on the block. Don't get it wrong because it won't work right. Right, belt time. Now these VAG belts are quite stiff and quite awkward to get on. However, you can do it, and the fact that it's got vernier pulleys really does help you. So you want to put the crank on first, and what I tend to do is just put the belt on halfway. Don't slide it on all the way because there isn't enough give in it. And then slowly slide the guides with it and the tensioner. Once I'm happy with it, I put the final little guide pulley between the cam and the fuel pump on and slide the tensioner into place, making sure the little locating lug is aligned. Right, there's not a lot of room here, but as you can see, cam pulley, that's pretty much in the centre. That's to one side, but there's slack between here. So the idea is, when this tensions that up, that's going to turn that around slightly, make it a little bit tighter, more central. Water pump's on, this guide's on. Crank pulley's on, hopefully you can see that. This guide's on, and all the slack, or most of the slack's in this side of the tensioner, which is exactly where you want it. So I'm going to start putting some nuts on, and then we can start tensioning it up. I carefully put the nuts and bolts into the tensioner and just finger tight them to start off with, just so I can make sure everything's right before I torque them all up properly. Now using the supplied 6mm Allen key, and put it in the tensioner, like so, and turn it clockwise until the pointer lines up. So that little point there wants to line up with the bit behind it. Next job, tighten these up. Tighten the cam pulley. Right, so now we're going to take the locking pins out, turn the engine over a few times, and then make sure the pins fit back in. And if they do, that means it's timed it perfectly and we can reassemble. So you need to turn the crank over at least twice so the cam is in the right place, because the cam runs at half speed. There we go, that's the cam lock back in, the fuel pump, and hopefully you can see the crank just there. So the next job is to build it back up in reverse order. Obviously I've got to take the pins out, put the timing covers on, bottom pulley. I'm going to put new auxiliary belt on the tensioner because that's not in the best condition. I need to fill it back up with coolant, and then we're away. Boom. So I'll just do this in reverse order. The whole job would have taken me about 2 to 3 hours. However, because I was filming it, it probably took twice as long as it should have done. So if you do appreciate the fact that I filmed it, support the channel by hitting subscribe, liking the video, leave a nice comment below. I do appreciate it, guys. And finally, once all that's done and I'm happy there's no bolts left over, I fill it back up with coolant slowly, and I just give it a good check over, make sure it fits tight and there aren't any leaks. So there we go, it's all back together. I washed the bay off because it was really grubby. One thing I will advise you to do is torque your wheels, retorque the wheels after a road test, and also check your levels after your road test. So your coolant, for example, once you get it hot, level could drop back down again. Also, when you do road test it, I would advise you to put the heater on flat out. That's on the hot position, not the fan. Just put the fan on normal speed, and that way it will get all the airlocks out of the system. Drive it for a few miles, make sure the temperature gauge stays okay, and if it does, come back, let it cool down, check the coolant, and you should be away. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful. If you did like it, please let me know in the comments below. Stay tuned for more, guys. I'll see you later. Bye bye.